Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of AskGufish. Real quick, before we get into it, a little announcement. So I just did a new Right Pringle merch drop at the end of 2021. Thank you so much for the support. We're already out of some sizes, others we've only got one or two left. And I get everything printed locally. I make sure that the shirts are the super soft, like tri-blend material. Make sure everything is great quality, none of that Teespring garbage, but it does take a lot of time out of my day. So next month, I'm partnering up with a new company. They print on demand. They get shirts from the same place I do. They've got printers all over the world. We don't have to worry about the custom shit, and so we can do more colors, more designs. We can do stuff besides just t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, shot glasses, throw pillows, a pink Right Pringle throw pillow. Yes, high integrity mug. Sure, why not? Let's get it. Anyways, the point is, it's gonna be a huge upgrade, and as part of that, I'm gonna be shutting down my current web store after this month to transition, which means I need to get rid of all my current inventory, so everything on the store right now is 35% off. Merch is the best way to support the channel besides Patreon. Every order comes with a sticker with a handwritten note, which is something that unfortunately I don't think I'll be able to continue to do when I get to the new store. But basically, new and exciting things are happening on the merch front. It's gonna be really cool, and everything I currently have needs to go. Link in the description. And in the meantime, you guys had questions on Discord. Let's get into them. Number one, Mick Thompson fan asks, "Hey Hunter, how was your Christmas?" Well, I got COVID. How was yours? Askari asks, well, PRS SE Silver Sky was announced. Got some interesting, different specs from its USA counterpart. Thoughts? Yeah, holy shit, it's happening. I'll admit, when the USA Silver Sky was first announced, I did not expect taking the vintage Strat and slapping bird inlays and a reverse PRS headstock in it would become the absolutely massive hit that it is, especially over $2,000. But players really resonated with it. There's been back orders pretty much since launch, and you love to see it. I don't mind being proved wrong. And after the success of John Mayer's Silver Sky, it was kind of surprising that we didn't get an SE version almost immediately. Instead, they've released about 1 million new colors of the US version. But again, after inflation and all that, they're now retailing for $25.49, which is a fairly high barrier to entry. We had that blacksmith string leak back in March, so we knew an SE version was coming. We just didn't know when, and it looks like it's finally dropping on the 11th. And as Askari mentioned, there's quite a few differences between the SE and the US version. And it's pretty interesting. They haven't just copied everything that made the original so successful and put it into a more affordable package. So let's look at what's different between the two and try to figure this out. According to PRS's Facebook post, the SE will launch in 4 colors: Evergreen, Stone Blue, Moon White, and Dragon Fruit. Not huge into any of the colors besides Stone Blue, to be honest, and that at least appears to be metallic. It's hard to tell about the other ones. Poplar body, and already that's our first difference. The US version comes with an alder body you'd normally find on Fender Strats. Poplar is very similar in terms of tone and in feel to alder, but it's a softer and more affordable hardwood. It's the same wood that Squire's updated Affinity series uses. Then the SE has a bolt-on maple neck with the same 635 JM shape as the American counterpart. I was kind of hoping it would be roasted maple. It almost looks like it from the last picture, but nah, I don't think so. Rosewood fingerboard, not Palfero or Indian Laurel, with an 8.5-inch radius. Now, hold up. Alder to poplar, I can understand that immediately, but changing the fingerboard radius from 7.25 inches to a flatter 8.5. If you think about the curvature of a circle, that's gonna be a pretty large difference in feel. If you've never tried it, 7.25-inch radius is pretty weird, to be honest. It's very, very round. It's on a lot of vintage Fenders. My guess is either it's to make it more accessible because 7.25-inch radius is obnoxiously round. 8.5 inches, it's still very round, but easier to get into. Also, a fingerboard with the 7.25-inch radius, it needs a really, really good setup to feel right, and the fretwork needs to be very good, otherwise you run into all sorts of problems, and that's harder to do with the rounder radius. The flatter the radius, the easier it is on the manufacturer side to get everything right, and on the player side, it's less maintenance. So from that perspective, it kind of makes sense, but it is a big difference. 635 JMS singles, so PRS import pickups with the same specs as the US versions. Volume, 2-tone, 5-way blade switch, standard Strat stuff, same rounded Strat knobs as the original. Nickel hardware, which is cool. Usually on imports like Squires and Harley Benton's, it's chrome. Nickel has that warmer color and ages nicely, so that's a cool vintage touch on an import guitar. Synthetic bone nut on the SE, real bone nut on the American version. Steel tremolo, so that's the same, but While the US version comes with a 6-point trem, the SE's is a 2-point. Weird. So the 6-point is the vintage way of doing it, the 2-point is more modern. A lot of purists like the 6-screw design, it's more contact with the wood, they claim it has more resonance. 2-point tends to be smoother, more responsive, more stable. For me, I don't know, I'd block them all off anyways. The most stable trems can be is when they can't move. Either way, not sure why that change was made. Doesn't really seem like one that needed to be. There is a hardware shortage. Maybe it was the only one they could get, who knows? Or maybe they wanted it for the stability. And the last change that stood out to me bums me out way more than it should have. So the American Silver Skies have this recessed, minimalist, modern truss rod cover. Meanwhile, the SE has a really generic gray one. I know, it's such a dumb thing to be bummed about, but it was a really cool touch that they've gotten rid of in favor of something, I don't know, unremarkable. Seems like the tuning keys are a matching gray plastic, but it's kind of hard to tell from the currently limited pictures. So overall, not really sure how I feel about this one. I was really excited for the announcement and for all the younger John Mayer fans to get their hands on an affordable John Mayer guitar. Like, I am sure this is going to be a great seller for PRS. But personally, now I'm more curious than anything. I understand from a manufacturing and QC perspective why you'd want to make some of these changes. I just wonder, as an instrument, how close it'll feel to the originals, specifically that fingerboard radius. In fairness, even on their vintage-inspired models, Squire still only does 9.5-inch radii because of how difficult rounder is to get right. Quality has been especially difficult now in season 3 of the pandemic, so depending on the price, like if these are $7.99, $8.99, a Vintera, which is the most affordable Fender you can get a 7.25-inch radius on, that's $10.99. So I could see these being a hit amongst fans of vintage Strats as an affordable option. So anyways, this has turned into a bit of a ramble fest trying to find an explanation for all the changes. But overall, yeah, interesting. I'm just curious now. What do you think of the specs and the colors of the PRS SE Silver Sky? I know this is more of a metal channel, but the Silver Sky has been such a huge hit in the guitar community. It's been impossible to ignore. I know you've got thoughts. Let me know what they are down below. And speaking of a huge hit that's been impossible to ignore, or at least you shouldn't ignore, the sponsor of today's video, Ridge Wallet. Massive thanks to them for their long-standing support, and if you somehow haven't heard of them before, they are redefining the wallet. And they aren't just a sponsor, I actually use a Ridge Wallet every day, and I love it. The designs are sleek, fit into your front pocket, the plates are made of aluminum, titanium, or carbon fiber. They're RFID blocking held together by a durable elastic band. The quality of these things is awesome, backed up by a lifetime guarantee. And let's face it, regular wallets, they're bulky, they're impractical, they collect all this useless crap, and they just kind of suck. Throw them into your back pocket, you end up sitting all crooked, next thing you know, you're at the chiropractor. Yeah, forget all that. Switch to a Ridge. I love the design. It's small, it makes it easy to carry and access what you need. Plus, they've got loads of colors and styles to choose from, including the awesome topographic collection inspired by iconic natural locations. I'm partial to the Narrows because it's just a beautiful place, but they're all cool. So if you want to see why so many people are switching over to the Ridge Wallet, head on over to ridge.com/Agufish and use the code Agufish at checkout for 10% off your order and free shipping. That's ridge.com/Agufish, code Agufish for 10% off, and clicking the link supports the channel by letting them know that I sent you. Embrace minimalism, help the channel, and while you're doing that, let's answer some more questions. Ice Cream Man 3, because I guess 1 and 2 are already taken, says, so it seems Maestro is back. What do you think Gibson is doing over there? Well, I know exactly what Gibson is doing over there, and yeah, it's pedals. Specifically, vintage style pedals, and I wasn't too familiar with the Maestro brand until I looked it up. Previously, I've only known them as like the super cheap Les Pauls Gibson sold at Walmart for like $100. But for those of you also not in the know, they were actually a big pedal brand back in the day. They introduced their iconic pedal, the FC1, back in 1962, and it is a very bizarre looking fuzz pedal. It's so funny looking at vintage pedals sometimes because they don't have that standard stomp box layout that we have today. The switch is on the top, so you can hit that with your foot, but then the volume and attack controls are on the top side panel, and they've got the 60s reflector guitar knobs. Very, very bizarre, but kind of cool. Keith Richards and Pete Townsend were both heavy users of the FC1, just to give you an idea of the time period we're looking at here. So anyways, fast forward to 2022, I've seen The new pedals, they look sick. They're super vintage inspired, and personally, I love the aesthetic of updated antiques. And that's pretty much all I think I'll say on those, because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to say anything about those yet. They look cool visually, and I'm not really a pedal person besides noise gates. I love noise gates, but I've always loved the visual part of pedal culture. The graphics and artistic expression that goes into visually designing a pedal is really cool. In a lot of cases, cooler than the pedal itself. For the Maestro relaunch, I might check it out just because I like checking out everything, but yeah, vintage style pedals. Do you think the world needs more? This channel's audience is generally younger and more metal focused. I'd be very surprised, but if you've tried an original Maestro pedal, what do you think? I Need and Loop Pedal asks, direct mount or pickup rings? You know, this is kind of bizarre. This topic has picked up a lot of steam over the last year or so. I don't really remember people having strong opinions about it one way or the other before last year. I guess it's because more import guitars are going that route recently, because the import factories have gotten much better at making the cavities cleaner. You know, Chapman, Solar. I guess for me, direct mount if they're pickups I'm keeping, pickup rings if it's on a mod platform. Direct mount pickups look awesome, at least if the cavities are clean. It's super modern, and I like the minimalism, and apparently it's better for tone because they're screwed directly into the body. Can't confirm that, but I guess it makes sense. But they can be kind of a pain in the ass to swap out, and the reason for that is with direct mount you need wood screws. Meanwhile, pickup rings, you need metal screws, and the thread pattern isn't quite the same. Most aftermarket pickups by default are made with mounting holes for metal screws. You've got to drill out the mounting holes to make them compatible with wood screws and for direct mount, and that's not something you can undo. I prefer the look and the vibe of direct mount for most guitars. Like, you would think Les Pauls look odd without pickup rings, but look at the Gibson Les Paul High Performance 2s. Those look kind of nice with direct mount pickups, and you get more of the figured top to look at. But on mod platforms, give me pickup rings every time. And that's why on my Signature, for example, I would have loved direct mount, but I've seen a lot of you have swapped out the pickups. You sent me pictures with Fishman Fluence, EMG, Bare Knuckles, Seymour Duncan, and I wanted to make it as easy as possible to make your own rather than just my guitar that you can buy. Also, since it was the first run from that factory, I didn't know how clean the cavities would be, and it just made sense to do pickup rings. And I put up a poll on the community page a couple hours ago with about 1,000 votes. Direct mount is barely taking it 54 to 46. What are your thoughts though? Obviously it matters on the guitar, but in general, which do you prefer? Direct mount or pickup rings? Let me know down below. Gent Meister asks, what is your favorite metal album of 2021? The Discord server can actually already see what I'm listening to on Spotify. Another reason to join the Discord server if you haven't already. It kind of gives a clue as to what demos are coming up. But yeah, Discord knows exactly how much Wage War I've been listening to. Their new release, Manic, was my favorite album of the year. It's super catchy. It's got these massive choruses, big, bouncy down-tuned riffs. The entire thing is hook after hook after hook. It's definitely modern metalcore, which is my thing, and then it's got a lot of modern deathcore influence too. Like, one second you're getting a huge sing-along chorus, and then the next second you're getting hit with a big fist-to-face breakdown, and it's like that for the entire album. I love it. Relapse in particular, if you're gonna check it out. Another one I really enjoyed was of Mice and Men's Echo. Again, metalcore, heavy riffs, big melodic choruses, but it's kind of got like an older first wave of metalcore thing going on while still sounding fresh. I wish I could show you guys sound clips, but YouTube copyright is what it is. Play like half a chord to help promote some music and the label takes the entire video. It's pretty goddamn stupid, but trust me, give it a listen. Start with Levy. That's my favorite. And the last kind of metal album that I really liked from 2021 was Tremonti's Marching in Time. I guess it counts as metal. There's a lot of gain and a fair amount of chugs, but Mark Tremonti just literally can do no wrong. And I like how, even though he's a beast of a guitar player, he considers himself a songwriter first and foremost. You can really tell when you listen to Alter Bridge or Tremonti, the riffs, the tones, they're massive. But again, it's the melody and the hooks that are at the forefront. Give Now and Forever a listen. It's fantastic. And not really metal, but I really liked Mammoth WVH's debut album. It's Wolfgang Van Halen's new band, who just so happens to be Tremonti's former bassist. And he's another awesome songwriter. It sounds nothing like Van Halen, and I respect that, honestly. He's doing his own thing. It's kind of radio rock. There's no breakdowns in sight. Just a really fun listen. My favorite track on that is probably Resolve. But those are 4 albums from 2021 that I liked all the way through from front to back. You know, if you're interested in finding new music, or if you've been curious as to what's been inspiring my riff writing lately, it's mostly Wage War, I'm not even gonna lie. Anyways, I could talk about music forever, and I was thinking of finally starting maybe a weekly Twitch listening party once I get the new place sorted. We could check out new releases, maybe some of your music. There's also a lot of classics that I get chastised for never having listened to. Been talking about doing something on Twitch for a while, it just hasn't happened. Finding a new place to move has been such a pain in the butt, dude. Like, I haven't had any time. But those are some of mine. What were your favorite albums of 2021? Leave your suggestions in the comments, because I'm always looking for new music recommendations. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. For the first time in 2022, here's the high praise of the week. What the fuck, you idiot? No wonder you don't like it. It's not a death metal guitar. You should learn some Allman Brothers or some Derek Trucks material if you have the skills, which I highly doubt, but then just maybe you could appreciate it. By the way, ditch the high gain, get on the clean channel, get some nice reverb in it, then try to play it. Thank you. Have a nice day. God damn it, dude. Look at this guy's profile picture. It had to be the betrayal. Giving Les Paul players such a bad name. You kind of have to laugh about how pathetic it is, though. Like, if the situation were reversed, like if I took the time out of my day to go over to a blues channel and was like, bet you can't chug, you bitch, learn some kill switch engage. Amusing, but very sad. And very stupid. And I love how he added the thank you, have a nice day, as if that makes up for being a complete douchebag for the rest of this dumbass paragraph. New year, same bull. We move. And since we're reaching the end of this video, if you're looking for something else to watch in case you missed it, there were actually a ton of videos since the last ASKgufish. It's been a while, my bad. Squire's just updated their best-selling Affinity series and added an awesome dual humbucker Telly Deluxe. Did a demo. That video is at 1.9K likes, but if or when that video hits 2K, I'll be upgrading the shit out of it, high integrity style, and giving it away. You know what to do. I uploaded my best and worst guitar and gear list of 2021. A lot of my picks were controversial, and my favorite guitar of the year probably wasn't what most of you were expecting. Everyone thought it was gonna be a Les Paul, but it wasn't. I built a ridiculously spec'd out kit guitar with no prior experience whatsoever, which should have been a total disaster, but actually turned out really well somehow. Vlogs the whole experience, including my mistakes, so if I can put together a completely unfinished custom kit guitar, you can too. Ibanez just released their 2022 lineup, and it is quite underwhelming, to say the least. You can watch my full breakdown and reactions to what they've got so far. Hopefully this is only phase 1 of what they have in store for this year. The basses are pretty dope though. And lastly, first demo of the new year is up, and surprise, we're back to form with the single cuts, but this is a really good one. It's my first time trying a Heritage guitar, who were started by former Gibson employees and operate out of the original Kalamazoo facility those legendary Gibson 59 Les Pauls were made in. Honestly, I thought the hype was all born out of anti-Gibson sentiment, but holy shit, I was unprepared for how good this guitar was. Links to all those in the cards and in the description. Go check them out. But on that note, that'll do it for this episode of AskGufish. Again, if you've got something that you want answered, join our Discord server. That's where I pull most of the questions from. And also, don't forget, everything on the merch store is 35% off right now, and everything goes offline at the end of this month, so grab it while you can. Really appreciate that support and the support of the Patreon community, whose names are on the screen right now. They're awesome for making this and for all the other content possible. Seriously, I would not be able to do this without you guys. Affiliate, social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.